Call the meeting to order. This is the Park and Recreation Commission meeting for February 27th, 2025. We do have a quorum, and I'd also like to welcome back Justice. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is approval of the minutes from January 30th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion or corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, unfinished business, we have Ryan's going to talk to us about the Aquapark policy review.
Good evening. Last week, we were fortunate enough to have the Common Council's blessing to proceed with the naming rights of the Westbury Bank Aquapark. So we are very excited to have that beginning for the summer of 2025 for the next 7 years. What you have in front of you is the first draft of the policies that we are hoping to implement at the Westbury Bank Aquapark. It is just that, a draft, so along the way, if there's something that you need clarification on, you see a typo, whatever it may be, please just stop me. I think it'll be easier to do it that way rather than trying to circle back at the end. Ages per industry standard and manufacturer recommendation, Westbury Bank Aquapark users will all be ages 6 and older at the time of use. That was the same age that we used last year in 2024. Personal flotation devices, or PFDs. All Aquapark users must wear a City of West Bend issued PFD regardless of swimming ability. Aquapark users are not permitted to use or supply or use their own PFD. Again, same policy that we used last year with the smaller quantity of inflatables. Waivers. All Westbury Bank Aquapark users that are minors, ages 6 through 17, must have a waiver signed by a parent or guardian to use the Aquapark. Waivers that are completed will be kept on file for the duration of the 2025 Aquapark season. Waivers will be completed online for all tickets purchased through WebTrack, which is our online registration software that kids would sign up for youth baseball, for the mud run. Any recreation program done online is through WebTrack. Online ticketing quantities reserved. So a typical day at the Westbury Bank Aquapark will have 4 2-hour sessions. Each one of those 2-hour sessions will have a maximum capacity of 140 people in the pond, or excuse me, in the Aquapark at once. On a typical day, 70 of the 140 tickets will be sold online. The other 70 will be held for in-person walk-ups, similar to how we've operated in the past, with the walk-up tickets being purchased then. Online tickets will be available to be purchased until 10 a.m. Central Standard Time that same day. So if I wanted to buy a ticket for the 4th of July, if there was quantities available online, I could purchase that ticket until 10 a.m. on the 4th of July. With the online reservation system, you'll be able to, once we go live with it, we're hoping a little later this spring, you'll be able to buy a ticket for any session throughout the duration of the summer at that point in time. Online ticket purchasers will receive an email that will contain a unique barcode for each ticket that was purchased. The tickets can be redeemed by printing off the tickets. We'll scan the physical piece of paper. Otherwise, the email will also contain a PDF. You can show the phone at the beach house and get scanned in that way to have your ticket redeemed. In person would be the other method of purchasing. Similar to how we operated in the past, you would walk up to the concessions window, say, I want to use the Aquapark. We would attempt to verify the age, have them sign a waiver if they haven't, make that transaction complete. The in-person ticket quantity available for each session would, of course, be dependent on the online portion. So if we only sold 40 of 70 tickets online, we would have 110 available for that 2-hour session. So a direct relationship there. With that rule, there would be some exceptions. There will be dates at the Westbury Bank Aquapark where we will alter the number of tickets sold online. Most commonly the 4th of July and the mud run. For days where we would expect hopefully 100% occupancy, it's just going to be cleaner to have all the tickets purchased online ahead of time, so we're scanning a barcode, handing out wristbands, not messing around with cash, swiping cards, all of that fun stuff. So on these dates, Parks, Rec, and Forestry Department may sell all available tickets for each 2-hour session online via WebTrack and sell no in-person tickets on those dates. Weather temperature closures. The West Bend Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department reserves the right to not open and/or close the Westbury Bank Aquapark if the projected temperature is less than or equal to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. There is no, oh, do you have something, Justice? Oh, okay,
No.
I'm sorry. I thought I was getting the look of confusion.
Not yet, I do in a minute, but go ahead. Yeah.
No real rhyme or reason to this number. I was looking back at past years and kind of the attendance and what the temperature was that day, and that kind of seemed to be the turning point of when it would be hard to financially justify staying open just because attendance would be lower. Of course, each instance would be dealt with on a case-by-case scenario. We're not just going to say it's 70 degrees out and kick 200 people out of the pond. If we can justify financially staying open and all of that entails for the recreation enterprise account, we will, of course, stay open. Acts of weather closures, similar to how we've operated in the past. If lightning is observed or thunder is heard from Regner Beach, it is our policy to remove all patrons from the pond and wait 30 minutes. Once 30 minutes have passed from the last sighting of lightning or hearing of thunder, the pond shall reopen. All other weather-related acts shall be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Heavy winds, heavy rain, tornado watches, tornado warnings are all obviously things that would have to be considered. No changes to our prior operations there. Refunds, general swim, so no change to our operations there in the past. The best way to think about Regner Beach this summer is going to be half of it being general swim, so the 0 to 5 foot area, and then the the Aquapark. So no refunds on general swim passes that are purchased. Those will all be purchased in person. So if it's a crappy, it looks like it's gonna be questionable weather and someone decides to come up and purchase general swim passes, they made that decision. They didn't purchase it ahead of time. That's kind of our theory for that. For the Aquapark, in the event that the Westbury Bank Aquapark does not open for an entire day or closes early due to weather conditions, the City of West Bend Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department will issue refunds when the Aquapark does not open for an entire day due to weather. Prepaid online passes will be fully refunded. In the event that the Aquapark closes during a 2-hour session, the following policies and procedures will be issued or followed relating to refunds. If the cancellation occurs within the first 60 minutes, a $4 refund per ticket will be issued. One thing that I caught earlier today, it would also be 50% for groups of 10 or more. So if the ticket price was $7 per ticket, we would give them back $3.50. If it was $6 each, depending on the group size, $3 back. So some edits will be done there. If the cancellation occurs after the first 60 minutes, there will not be any refund issued. If Regner Beach closes before customers are able to use their tickets for a 2-hour session, so if they purchase for the 5 o'clock session and the beach closes at 3 o'clock, we will, of course, fully refund them for their tickets purchased. Tickets purchased online, Aquapark tickets purchased online via WebTrack can be purchased by users that have created either the full household account, so they've went through, set it up with their name, phone number, email, address, so on and so forth, or guest accounts, which is just name and email are the 2 fields that we're collecting. All tickets purchased on WebTrack will be issued a refund to the original card payment within 5 business days of their cancellation. So that's the time frame that we're giving ourselves to, me to talk to Carolyn and Tanya and say, we had the cancellation, we need to, reach out to these people and issue them their refunds. Household accounts will automatically be refunded and will be alerted of the refund via the email address used on the account. Guest accounts will be sent an email to the address that they input when purchasing the tickets. This email will explain the options that they have, a refund, the issuance of a coupon code to use the money they put in on a different date, or we could potentially change the date of their visit on the back end. Tickets purchased in person will be transacted through our Square using cash or card. Both transactions, we're able to take care of that same day. So cash, we can give them cash back. Card, we can issue the refund, and then it's up to Square to send that money back to the original payment method. General swim savings with the Westbury Bank Aquapark ticket purchase. So as we discussed with the pricing policy last month, Any purchaser of a Westbury Bank Aquapark ticket will have the ability to receive a $1 discount per swimmer if daily general swim passes are purchased. So that would deduct it from $4 to $3 with the Aquapark ticket. The punch passes, another new implementation this year. Punch passes purchased prior to the season opening will only be available for use in person. So there's not going to be any type of online reservation with the punch pass that we are selling this year for the Aquapark. Volume discounts and group visits. So volume discounts will be given on transactions for a single day with 10 or more tickets. 10 or more users will receive the discount of $1 per ticket. 20 or more users will receive the discount of $2 per ticket. Online purchases through WebTrack must all be made within one date to receive these types of discounts. So if I'm buying my tickets for the summer and I do 5 on one day and 5 on the next day, that would not count for this discount. They all have to be within the singular day to get the volume discount. Groups using the Aquapark will be required to purchase all Aquapark tickets and pay in full at the time of booking. We're not going to do an IOU system or show up and pay then. We obviously need to make sure that these people are committed to coming. So anytime that there's a group booking, we will want them to be paying in full at the time of booking. And then one of the last bullet points is group chaperones will receive free general swim as we've done in the past, but we are going to make the chaperones pay the same rate as the rest of the group for their admission to the Aquapark. Yeah, open to feedback.
It seems a little ambiguous, where you have the volume discount. It'll say that you can buy them on WebTrack and get the discount, but then later on, it says when there's a large group, you must complete your reservation with the Park, Rec, and Forestry. That other part where it says groups larger than 10 are recommended to contact Recreation Supervisor. Well, under that number 1, it says all groups, whatever, should contact the Parks, Rec, and Forestry to complete their reservation.
Right.
So it just seems a little confusing between the two of those.
Yeah, and I would say generally take out the names of the transactional systems like Square and the dollar amounts, because those things can change. This is a policy; it should be long-lived, and we shouldn't have to change it when we change out a system or change out a rate.
But are people going to read this and know that they should go on those sites then? You know,
We can put in a link to where the transactional system is. We don't want to necessarily call it out, though.
Right.
And that's one thing that we were looking at doing, like in the city's website and all that. You go on the city's website, main page, we're gonna have a link right there, you know, so I'll say shortcuts are gonna be in place. We just wanna make sure that the policies behind all of that is, you know, set up. There's a pretty good chance we're gonna, after this season, we would have this policy in front of the commission again for some review and adjustment. I mean, Mr. Wesson, I understand your remarks in reference to, you know, kind of, we're saying it 2 times and maybe, I get that, we can maybe modify that. Modify that a little bit. And Craig, with your comments about Square and all that, some of the terminology that we're using is the same thing that Carolyn, we use already for our facility rentals, so we're trying to keep some of that, you know, the same, I'll say.
Ryan, did you get any flack from people having to use department PDFs? Because I wonder if you could put in there where it says you must use our PDFs.
Oh,
if you could put an exclamation, why? PFDs, I mean, sorry.
Okay. No, last year there was a couple of people, you know, the parents that are prepared and they read all the fine details like this and they bring their own life jackets.
Right.
I'll say 9 out of 10 times it was a civil conversation. They understood that we're not going to let them use something that we don't know works. So.
And it's just because of liability and we know ours are certified or whatever.
And those safety rules have also been reviewed by the city attorney.
Yes.
Ryan, just a quick question. In the beginning, you said something about the Aquapark being good for 7 years. Is that just like a naming rights thing?
The naming rights agreement with Westbury Bank is for 7 years.
Okay, any other feedback for Ryan? If you do think of anything, contact him. And then we'll see this again. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
We were going to postpone the next part till 6:30 because it was in the newspaper that it was started at 6:30, but it looks like most everybody's here, maybe we could start it now. And
Want to, you can.
if people come in later, we'll still be talking about it, I'm sure. Yeah, and then they can go on their merry way a little earlier, too. Or we could put it last, and then if we can sit and watch our exciting meeting. Okay, skate park review. Ryan, you're gonna head that up?
Yes. All right. Thank you, first of all, everyone, for being here. Really quickly, a quick 2-minute recap of how we got to this point. So as many of you may know, from 2003 until 2008, the current skate park equipment was housed at the YMCA in their parking lot, was constructed and taken down every season. From 2009 until March 2010, the skate park equipment was placed in Barton Park. Issues began to arise, and the equipment eventually needed to be removed, and it was kept in storage until May 2012. In May 2012, the current skate park was placed on the temporary city-owned parking lot that it's currently at off of Main Street after the inability to find a permanent location. Little to no action was taking place in regards to the skate park until Isaac contacted the West Bend Parks Recreation and Forestry Department and met with us at a commission meeting on site at the skate park. In 2024, the Friends of West Bend Skate Park was formed. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, obviously aiming to get West Bend a new skate park. And then moving on to the memo prepared, we'll hit some of the highlights. So since May 2024, the Friends of West Bend Skate Park and the City of West Bend Parks Recreation and Forestry Department have been in discussion regarding the potential for leasing, purchasing, or using a plot of land owned by a private company for the future skate park. Unfortunately, due to a lack of progress in these discussions, the Friends of West Bend Skate Park and Parks Rec and Forestry Department have decided to explore alternative locations for the skate park. While the privately owned site is currently not a primary consideration, the Friends of Skate Park and Park Rec and Forestry Department are open to revisiting this opportunity if there is any significant change in the conversations with the landowner. After evaluating several options, including those that had previously made it to the list of 5 final candidates, it was unanimously agreed upon by the Friends of West Bend Skate Park that the area surrounding the sport court in Regner Park is the preferred site for the skate park's future location at this point in time. The site had originally been a strong contender, finishing in second to the privately owned land during the initial selection process. The Friends of Skate Park and Park Rec and Forestry Department staff believe that this area offers a great opportunity to add a skate park to Regner Park's many amenities. In addition to the Regner Park Sport Court, the Friends of Skate Park and Park Rec and Forestry staff considered other sites. After review, it was clear that the Sport Court area in Regner Park offers the most promising opportunity at this point. This location is well situated with easy access to a parking lot and nearby restrooms, providing convenience for park users. The site's visibility to both vehicular and pedestrian traffic will help deter undesirable behaviors. Regner Park is a community park specifically designed to accommodate amenities such as a skate park. Utilities are already close in proximity to this proposed site. This location also offers the possibility for future expansion, allowing for growth of the skate park if demand increases over time. We've been saying 13,000 square feet is what our baseline, I guess. It could go up or down, but 13,000 was a calculation that we got based off of some literature. So we would have that plus the availability to expand if the demand's there. Despite the many advantages of the Regner Park Sport Court site, there are a few potential challenges that need to be addressed. One consideration is the proximity to Carl Kuss Field, specifically the left field fence. Depending on the final layout of the skate park, balls hit over that fence would need to be addressed, so whether it's a fence or a net or something that we haven't thought about. And soil conditions and subgrades of the site will need to be assessed through soil borings, as Regner Park is known to have poor soil conditions. If the site is approved, the soil borings will be completed to ensure the suitability for construction of the site. A side note that's not in the memo, the Friends of West Bend Skate Park highly prioritizes having a modern design cement skate park, as it is the preferred surface for both the skate park pad itself and the obstacles within the skate park. Just a little bit of a note, prefabricated metal ramps similar to what we have now at the Main Street site are, of course, much louder than contemporary concrete skate parks. Some research that was done by the city of Portland states that Skate parks could reach a decibel level of 65 to 71, about the sound of a ball hitting a bat. Other tricks like grinds between 45 and 65 decibels. Overall, a skate park is about as noisy as a playground. So they use 65 as the decibel rating for a skate park. To put that into context with some other things, a noisy restaurant has a decibel rating of 85. A chainsaw has a decibel rating of 125. And at 130 decibels, a typical person is on the threshold of physical pain. The Friends of West Bend Skate Park, Parks Recreation, and Forestry staff are excited to move forward with the Regner Park Sports Court site after the previous site did not come to fruition. We believe that the addition of a new skate park replacing the 20-year-old existing skate park equipment will be a valuable asset to the City of West Bend's park system. Both groups are confident that this new facility will serve as a fantastic amenity to the community and provide a modern, safe, and exciting space for wheeled sport enthusiasts and Regner Park visitors. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Before we take any vote or anything like that, we want to hear what you guys have to say. But could you, if you go to the mic, state your name and address, but I also don't want to hear, like Ryan said, the current site isn't an option, so I don't want to hear anything about that we don't want it there anymore because it's not going to be there. Same with the equipment, that's going to be scrapped, so we don't have to hear about getting new equipment and those types of things. And we don't have to repeat. I mean, if one guy says something, we don't need all of you to come up and say you want this certain site or whatever. If you could, just to limit the time for everybody. So go ahead, state your name and address.
Hello.
There you go.
My name's Isaac Sharp. My address is 1024 Roosevelt Drive. Been living in West Bend for about 5 years now. Been skating as long as I can remember. My daughter's been skating for as long as she's been alive, pretty much. There's two things I really want to point out regarding Regner and just having a good quality skate park is my family, we skate about 2 to 3 times a week, and it's never in the city of West Bend. I've lived here for 5 years. I skate 3 to 4 times a week. It's in Jackson, Butler, Milwaukee, Sheboygan, Conomowoc, anywhere but here. Every time we go out, we're buying dinner, I'm buying gas, we're buying snacks. So just the tourism that a skate park can attract is, I think, a lot more than people realize and recognize, you know. I'd love to skate here and then go get a slice of Sal's, but I can't. So, you know, so Conomowoc, then find Dairy Queen or a local pizza place out there. The second thing is really how popular skateboarding is getting in, you know, sports. You've got your PLS, your SLS, you know, you got Street League, Professional League Skateboarding, X Games. So it's really becoming this normalized trade of you become AM, you go pro, it's your full-time job, you got a career, you're riding for Nike, Adidas, this and that. And skate camps for kids is getting really popular. My daughter does about 2 or 3 skate camps a year, usually an indoor winter one and then a couple outdoor ones during summer. I think that'd be a great, you know, opportunity for West Bend Parks and Rec to have high school kids volunteer and help show little kids how to skate, and skate camp like that would be good revenue for the city. Those are my 2 things. If you guys have any questions about the skate park or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. If anybody else wants to talk, go for it. But thank you guys. Thanks, Isaac.
I would like to point out that Isaac is the president of the Friends of West Bend Parks, or excuse me, Friends of West Bend Skate Park, and you know, he's volunteering his time for a couple of hours every month to help you guys out and make this become a reality. So thank you, Isaac.
How many members are in that, Ryan?
There are 4 right now. Isaac Sharp, Kevin Roach is our treasurer who's here, Tom Voss is our secretary in the back, and Micah Kranz, who is unfortunately ill tonight, but I am told he's watching via live stream, so
You're
thank you,
always
Micah.
looking for more members. Anybody else want to speak? For or against?
Hi there, I'm Kelly Elf. I'm actually not a resident of West Bend. However, I run a skate club for kids. So we actually travel to different areas to skate. So we would be your tourists coming in, hopefully. I run a skate club for kids in Southeast Wisconsin. We're committed to sharing the love and life skills of skateboarding in a safe, supportive, and inclusive environment. We're also affiliated with a nonprofit called Be a Boarder, which helps match kids with gently used boards and helmets. In addition to this, I'm the mother of 2 skateboarders. As small business owners of a local company that caters to traditional sports of baseball and softball, We never thought we'd be the parents of skateboarders. After trying out the more mainstream sports and not finding a great fit, we put our, at the time, 9-year-old on a board and she took off without ever looking back. From that time, the changes we've witnessed in her have been immense. She went from being reserved and afraid to fail to being confident, upright, braver than we ever could have imagined, and a child who understands that failing and falling is not forever. Skateboarding forces you to fail a lot before you succeed. It breeds resilience and requires growing, learning, and changing, much like the world we live in. Both of our daughters have a newfound confidence not only in their abilities as skateboarders, but also in school and social relationships. They've learned how to be vulnerable and ask questions when a math class gets tough. They recognize that not everyone takes the same path to success, and that there is more than one right way to learn and to succeed on the board and in life. And they've learned what it means to be truly supportive and encouraging, whether it's congratulating an old friend on a new trick or helping a new friend up after a big slam. The lessons of skateboarding in the skate park extend far beyond the boundaries of a skate park's ramps and bowls. Skate parks are where we gather with our friends, and we've found great friends and incredible support from strangers cheering them on, hanging around late to watch them land a new trick. The shared understanding we've found is like nothing I've experienced in traditional sports with our oldest daughter. Communities readily plan, fund, and maintain spaces for traditional sports, and many of these traditional sports require a high cost of entry, both in time, parental support, and equipment. Skateboarding's cost of entry is comparatively low, and community skate parks are critical for providing a safe and public space for the sport. Skateboarding is both welcoming and accessible, but it is only so if we invest in spaces that are also welcoming and accessible. And I encourage this community to give this sport and these kids the space they need to find their place within it. Thank you for your time and consideration. Keep shredding and wear your helmets.
Thanks, Kelly. I agree, it's a athletic sport and a social sport. It's good, it gets people outside, gets some activities. Anyone else have anything to say about it? There you go.
Hello, I'm Dante Gonzalez. I've lived in West Bend and Jackson for over 20 years now. I currently reside in West Bend, but I first lived in Jackson. And I remember going through this same process when I was in elementary school to get the skate park there. And the benefit that that brought to the community and how important that was to the community and everyone involved cannot be put into words. You know, the relationships and the places that you'll go and the people you meet through skate parks and through the interactions there have already been spoken to. You know, everyone in here has been to a skate park and lives that life, and you know, it's something that, you know, you gotta be a part of to really understand. But I think we're at a point now where, you know, it's not a question of if, like, we need a skate park. There needs to be something put into place, and it's really fortunate, and I feel really fortunate that we're finally at a place where we can have these discussions in West Bend. Wherever the park lands, you know, I think that Regner's a perfect place. It has all the facilities around there to, you know, not only attract people to other sports, but bring people into skate parks and show them that world. You know, Isaac talked, you know, it's an Olympic sport now, you know, and if you can harvest and make facilities that are, you know, engaging to the riders and, you know, to the eye, that's going to be huge for the area. You know, the value that you get from having a skate park in your town, you know, as he spoke to, is tremendous. You bring people in, kids will drop off their kids at the skate park and then go shop at all the places downtown, go get a bite to eat, walk along the Riverwalk. I just think it's only natural that as West Bend gets a facelift and we pump all this money into things, that a skate park is the logical next step, you know, in that process. There's literal generations of people in this room that have been using the skate park here in West Bend and the surrounding communities. And so, you know, I think if we can get some closure on that and, you know, make something that everyone's proud of, that would be a huge step. The only thing I ask is that, you know, as this happens and next steps happen, that you involve the community, involve the people that are gonna use the skate park in designing, in, you know, being a part of that conversation with not only materials, location, and, you know, what that skate park is gonna look like. So, yeah, that's all I have.
That's the reason we have the Friends of the Skate Park. They're going to be involved. Thank you.
All right, how you guys doing? Keep it down. So I'm Jake Schledweiler, born in West Bend. I was at the YMCA opening in 2003. I know, crazy. Not going to go on what everybody else had to say, like, would it be a great asset? Yes. I've traveled the country. These people have too. There's skate parks everywhere, you know. Obviously, bigger cities, more people. Smaller communities, though, I'm a little nervous. Anyways, my two biggest concerns, number one, was what were the other locations? Because it felt to me, when I read on Facebook, that it was just Regner.
So we, being Parks Rec Forestry and Friends of West Bend Skate Park, comprised a list of 23 total sites. We reviewed all of them. Some were more viable than others. From there, we dwindled it down to 5 finalists. The sport court area that we are talking about, the soccer field in Regner off of Park Avenue, kind of by the Parks Workshop. That was another option. Some privately owned land in the city, Kister Island on the east side of the parking lot, and Riverside Park, the 18th disc golf hole on the north parking lot off of Indiana. And then Badger Middle School was another one that we had, I guess, more or less considered a finalist, but we never got into having those conversations with the school district.
Okay. And then, I don't know, it just felt to me, again, and I might just be speaking on myself, feel free to jump in. It was just like when I read it, there was no other community discussion besides the last meeting that was held last year. It was just, come tonight, approval for Regner, that's it.
Do you have concerns with the location?
I don't know, like, yes, Regner is a great spot. I really do think so. But when I read it, I drove past, you know, I know the area regardless. If it was like east of the volleyball court, I think maybe that would be a better fit as opposed to having a basketball court to the north, a baseball field to the south. You know, you got to add money to put up fencing. It's left field, you know, home run territory. And then you got a basketball court. I'm nervous. Last thing I want to see is like Dante or her daughter riding and somebody gets teed off, throws a basketball, now she gets hit in the head.
Yeah, and right now, the physical footprint, if approved, the physical 13,000 square feet footprint isn't finalized, that it's gonna be south of the basketball court in that little triangle area between the basketball court and left field. For the future growth, we had a map that I don't have in front of you tonight, but that space to the east of the volleyball court that you mentioned is in a part of that growth also. So that could be the first 13,000 or the second 13,000. That's obviously where the design and, you know, what our initial footprint's gonna be is a part of that journey between now and getting it built.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Do you have any suggestions on alternate locations?
I literally, since the day I moved back from California in 2014, Kester Island, I don't know what the city can do. That is like dream. So like if you guys, if anybody ever goes to Des Moines, so when I was working out of state on contract in 2015, Des Moines, Iowa, their local skate shop, they were fundraising for their park. And anybody who knows Des Moines Park, it's the largest outdoor skate park in the U.S. It's 42,000 square feet on the river. Like, what's West Bend known for?
What is what?
West Bend. What is it known for?
Bend of the
Oh,
river.
the river. Yeah.
Like, what happens at Kester Island? You know, picnic tables are there in winter. And like, I don't know, when I read, again, and like, I'm not going against you, I'm just stating what I read. When it said like approved by the police, I was like, all right, you know, Kester Island, right off 33. We're moving a skate park from where it is, what, quarter mile up the road. You can come in both ways off of Main Street. There's no median right there. Restrooms. How many of you have been to a skate park that has restrooms?
Residents over in that area too, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, I mean, okay, like public urination, public defecation, it happens everywhere. I'm not gonna, do I condone it? No. But it happens, regardless.
All right.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, there's no site that's perfect, you know, this isn't a perfect site, Kester Island's not perfect, like you said, and that lot is used also for parking. So, I mean, we've been talking about this for a year and stuff, and we're definitely gonna have a skate park. You know, I think everybody up here agrees that we need a skate park, but,
The other thing that, like, again, what I could say with these people who utilize a skate park is preferably to keep it away from a playground setting. So a lot of people who don't understand, you know, if you have a concrete park, brand new, say it rains on a Tuesday, kids are out there on a Wednesday, running through the grass. I was that kid once, you know, you run up and down the ramps. Well, Jake Orvis shows up, and there's mud on it, he's gonna be pissed. Or you fall. And then, you know, it's not broom finish concrete like a sidewalk or the front step of your house. It's smooth. So like as soon as water or dust gets on it, it's ice. I don't know.
okay.
Things the things we all see completely different than like your guys' outlook on it. And trust me, I get it.
Here for a second. Just so everyone knows, I mean, we reviewed over 30 different sites in the city. And when we did that review, we had 19 different criteria that we would look at and review. From visibility to security to restrooms to soils, et cetera, et cetera. So we didn't just randomly just start picking properties. And it wasn't just our department, it was our commission. That's why we were working with our friends of West Bend Skatepark. And this topic didn't come up, like the chairman mentioned, didn't come up last month. We held our first open meeting about 14 or 15 months ago. We had it at the beach house. We've met multiple times with the West Bend Friends of Skatepark again to review these sites and things like that. So when we take, one of the biggest hurdles and challenges with this topic is the location. And that's why the commission is taking the time they are to review it. The commission discussed it last month. They did not want to make any decisions last month because they wanted this. They wanted public input. So I just wanted some background information. I mean, we start talking about locations, we take it very serious. And we have 19 different criteria that we reviewed for each location.
Could I ask like what some of them were?
I can give you my spreadsheet.
I'm not like, trust me, I'm not trying to be a prick. I'm not trying to be that guy.
Right.
It was just,
Yep.
you know, if I had the time to help facilitate on the board, I travel a lot for work, so I just can't do it. But like I
No
said,
problem. Make sure your email's on the sign-up sheet
It
back
is.
there, and I will send it to you tomorrow.
Park and Recs follows me on Facebook.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Isaac, did you want to respond? Can you come up? Can you come up?
Mike?
A big part of it too is like realization of actually making it happen, and this is gonna have to get paid for. So Keister was top 3, but there's certain requirements we're gonna have to meet. Restrooms, lights, cameras are requirements that like we're gonna have to have for the skate park. And putting those up at Keister is gonna be like $150,000-$200,000. It's a ton of money to run electrical out there, put a bathroom up there. So Keister would be amazing on the water. We 100% can revisit it, but also we're gonna have to raise like $500,000, $750,000, and then if we're adding another $200,000, you know, for lights and stuff, it's just that was really what edged us over towards Regner, because there's already lights from the baseball field, there's already a bathroom, there's already electricity there. I 100% agree with what you're saying about the mud. I know what you mean, when stuff gets dusty and slick, and also that when playground kids are just go over them. When playground kids are playing near a skate park and they wander over to the skate park and their parents aren't watching them, it's never good. But I just wanted to comment on, that was honestly, financials was kind of why we had eliminated Keister, just because there's no electrical over there, and it was gonna, yeah.
I get that. Like, I understand it at work with the field. I don't know, like, as a community member, a quick post on Facebook, like, oh, looking at these sites today with Parks Commission. I don't know how you guys' stance is on that. I mean, we're in a social media generation. I don't watch it, but I'm on Twitter.
If anybody's not in the Facebook group, I recommend joining. Once we do, you don't have Facebook, we might have to do a mailing group or something for emails, get people involved. And yeah, when it comes to designing, any other big questions like that, we'll have big open discussions.
Is there like a home base of any federal grant or anything?
No, gentlemen, okay,
Yeah,
this is a public meeting, so if anyone wants to address the commission, they're gonna have to come to the podium. Please state your name. Chairman, I'm sorry if I'm jumping in here.
Okay, yeah.
But we can't have conversations between the group and this and that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep, no, all good.
William Orvis, W2918, County Road C, Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. I grew up here my whole life, and then I ran away for good reasons. Is there like a home base that we're working off of? It's like a federal grant, or is it just like, he said the, what, 13,000 square feet or something? Is like the size we're working with? How do we get that?
Okay, so funding for this will be grants and or donations.
Okay, do we know of what we got? Or?
No, we have not done any funding for this project yet because we don't have the location chosen.
Okay.
And we have not determined, most likely we have not determined the type of equipment we're gonna purchase and build and all that. I mean, I know everyone would like to have concrete, but I don't wanna say that because we don't have any funding yet. So it's gonna come down to location. We need to determine the location. Then we need to come together and come up with a funding plan, because the next step is gonna be probably putting together a request for proposal. So we can send out a request for proposal to nationwide designers and companies that would put our package together for us. They're not gonna do that for free. Our estimates at this point in time, we're gonna have to raise $30-some thousand just to put that package together to get a design for this specific location. Part of the location also is, I don't care if it's Regner, Keister, or anywhere else, we're gonna have to do soil borings and testings to determine what's under our feet. I can tell you Keister is a horrible location to construct anything, and so is Regner. I'm just honest, the soils are not conducive to what we're talking about. Can we build there? Absolutely. Will it cost some more money? Will we have to put in some different types of footings and things like that? Sure, we will. I'm not saying it's impossible. We just, it's not. I mean, I think both locations are good. That's why they're at the top of our list. But we've not moved forward with funding because we need that location first. And we need to know, what is this gonna look like? We start going to community partners and say, hey, we wanna build a skate park. Well, where's it gonna go? What's it gonna look like? Things like that. So location, that's why we're here tonight. Location is, again, could be one of the biggest challenges with this entire project. And we know it's a challenge because it's been 22 years and we have not come up with a firm location. We haven't.
Does the location kind of affect like the way it's gonna look, or you guys' like plans on design, or like plan on investment, and like how far you guys wanna go with how much we're trying to throw into it?
Sure, absolutely. So part of it is, part of the fundraising plan with many of our projects that we do with fundraising, if we're looking at a price tag of north of $750,000, we probably look at a phase plan for fundraising. We get to X amount of dollars, we can start building phase one. We get to X amount of dollars, phase two, phase three, phase four, whatever it might be. So the location itself will determine construction cost, design, how much square footage we have, things like that. So Our goal is a 13,000 square foot skate park, and our group has talked many times, concrete, but do we want to move beyond that 13,000 square feet at some point in time? Do we, we talk about BMX bikes, we talk about pump tracks and all these other opportunities that are out there. So we need to take a look at all of that during that design process, and the location will be part of that, obviously.
Right on.
Yep, thank you.
To answer one of your initial questions, the 13,000 square foot that I referenced came from the skate park project, which was formerly the Tony Hawk project. So basically, it was just a calculation based off of the population. So is it accurate? Maybe. Could 10,000 feet work? Could it be 20,000? Yes, but we were just referencing 13 for that.
Yeah, crazy over here. Hi, I just want to say thank you for taking your guys' time to kind of entertain this idea. I live in Beaver Dam currently. My name is Evan Cox, but I grew up here my whole life, and I'm a frequent visitor. I work around this area, so I have logged in some serious hours at this skate park, and it's been a place where I've grown up my whole life, and it means a lot to me. So it's cool that we're able to have these discussions. What I want to bring to attention is kind of the way certain things were worded in like the media coverage of this. I feel like could be kind of misconstrued to like general public. Like there's a lot of people in our community that don't know about skateboarding or really care, but they would be interested in it because it's part of their city and something that we're trying to push forward. And people that wouldn't show interest might actually show interest, but I think the phrase that was used was safe and functional, and I think that kind of deletes some of the urgency to people that aren't within this community. You know what I mean? So I don't know, for like the future, trying to like cover and bring to attention for fundraising and things like that, I think we should kind of be all on the same page in just where we're at. You know what I mean? Because that safe and functional would not be the two words that would come to my brain to describe that park by any means. It's pretty treacherous, honestly, like for lack of better words. I'm very experienced, and it is unsafe for sure, like definite. But again, I want to reiterate that I'm very happy that we're able to have these conversations and that everybody's kind of taking their time, because this is something that would be amazing, I think, for the community.
Just so I understand, are you saying that it's poor marketing, using those words?
Like, just yeah, like poor marketing.
Other skateboarders won't like to hear that? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not even necessarily that. It's just the general population that doesn't know anything about our sport, or like there's people in our community that have maybe driven past the skate park a handful of times and they don't know anything about skateboarding. So for them, it's just like, oh, cool, there's ramps up. And when you say safe and functional, they're like, okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? They're just trying to get a new skate park because they want some new stuff. It's not like a sense of urgency like I believe it actually is.
Okay.
Because it's very like if I was a little kid and I went and slid down one of those ramps, like you're pretty much like, you have a high chance of getting cut up on something. Like, it's real rough condition. It's been very, very neglected. When it sat over at those water towers.
Oh, you're referring to the stuff that's there now.
Right.
And you're suggesting it's not safe and functional.
No.
That's okay. I remember meeting with Isaac, if I can just jump in real quick, when it was one of my last meetings. And I mean, you guys didn't have, we didn't start any of this yet. You know, it was one of the first times I think you came in and talked to us. And to see all of this now, it's just amazing. To your point, it's great that we're having this conversation.
We've all been down there, we've seen it, we know the condition of it.
Yeah, it's not.
And I know you guys said that, like, that's not really in the question. Like, we're for sure, like, pushing for new ramps and stuff like that. But I just, the fact of, like, the communication to the general public, I think, could have been handled a little bit more, like, accurately. But other than that, this is awesome, and I'd really like to see some more steps being taken, and it's cool that everybody's working together and trying to make this happen. But
Thanks.
Thanks,
that's
Evan.
all. Thank you.
Hello,
I'm Andrew Von Hayden. I live in 1025 Hazelwood Court. I've been in West Bend for about 3 years. I previously grew up in Delafield and went through that process of trying to fundraise for a skate park there and saw how much that helped that community there. I have a handful of thoughts on this, and the first one that comes to my mind is that the quality of the skate park directly reflects how many people come to that skate park. So I know we talk about prices and what have you, and unfortunately, a lot of times when you see skate parks cut corners or make budgetary reasons to build a lesser park, it directly affects the long-term viability of that park. So you might still get that initial push. That skate park gets usage in that first year or two. It's really popular. And then it kind of falls off over time as it just, whether it doesn't hold up to the environment as well, or it's people lose interest because it's just not as quality of a skate park. I know personally, I don't skate in West Bend ever. I drive half an hour to go skate in Wauwatosa most of the time. Like, because if I'm gonna take the time to go skate, I wanna skate at something that I know I'm gonna find enjoyment in skating. And I think that is a vast majority of people who, when you have access to the ability to travel, if you're not, a teen who's stuck in West Bend and that's their only option, we're gonna go elsewhere. And I think that's very important. From a square footage standpoint, I don't have any particular comment on the overall size of the skate park. In terms of like, is 13,000 square feet good, bad? I don't really know. Something I've felt when going to a bunch of different skate parks is just making sure that we have a large area of flat ground for skateboarders to work on their tricks is just so important. It's something that's neglected at skate parks all around, and then people don't have places to work on progressing their tricks, and then you end up bottlenecking a skate park, and it's awful. And even if you can have a bigger skate park and there's not necessarily features, it can just be flat concrete. That goes a long way in helping provide a good skate park where people can learn. So I don't know how the location affects the size, but I think that is an important factor of if you have more space, even if it's just blank space, that can still be very useful for a skate park. One of the ones that I think of right now is Oak Creek. Oak Creek has a large area to work with, and I think it allows for people to really practice and work on their trick away from everyone else. And I think it's probably more space than they need, but I think it's overall very beneficial. And finally, I know we're very focused on skateboarding here. I would love if we kind of made our thoughts about the skate park a little more inclusive. I'm a rollerblader. I know how that can. Yeah. But and I just want to make sure that we're looking at this from building a place that is fun for all different, whether you're scootering, biking, skateboarding, what have you. I know biking can get a little iffy depending on how you set up the skate park and whether it can be something that works with BMX. But just from like a thought and approach to how we treat this park is I want it to, I don't want us just to like get our brain of like, it's skateboarding, because it's bigger than skateboarding. So it's all these action sports that can happen. And
We understand it. We call it a skate park, but it's gonna be.
no, totally.
any
We all call them skate parks. That's yeah.
Right.
But I just that's maybe more for the wider group here than necessarily the board here. But I think it's worth bringing up. And that's all I had.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
She was standing first.
I appreciate it, thank you. All right, hi, my name is Kathleen Bauer. I've lived in West Bend a good portion of my life. I went to Holy Angels, I went to West Bend East, did move away, came back about 23 years ago with 3 of my 4 kids. They were all in skateboarding, and that was pretty much the first sport that they all did together. It was also a means for me to spend quality time with them that didn't cost a whole lot of money. Single parent, it was the one thing that we could do. They could get into my car, bring their skateboard, their helmets, whatever they needed, and we could go around and we could go to different skate parks. It was so exciting when Jackson got theirs, when West Bend got theirs. At the Y, my sons and I helped put them together and take them apart each season so they could earn that pass in order to skate. You know, it has been such a huge part of their life, and a lot of these people here are still their friends that they met skateboarding. It's been such an integral part of their life, and I loved being able to watch that and to be part of that. And I'm just so happy that you guys are doing something, because what is there now is not safe, and they're not able to enjoy it. And so that was why I came today, is I really wanted to make sure that you weren't just moving the existing equipment to another location, because that wasn't gonna do so. I was so glad to hear that. So I'm really glad that you guys are looking at getting better, not just a different location, but also better equipment. So I just really wanted to share that. It's important to a lot of people. It's not just, you know, troublemakers. It has a bad rap. It's a lot of really good people that want to teach the young people coming in how to skate. They love to spend the time and show them how to do these things. It is a great community. So I appreciate the time and the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your time. Dan Keppen, 707 North 18th Avenue. I just have a question, if it's been covered or if you do have information on it already. Has there been any discussion or partnership with the county regarding the land use of the UWM campus and the potential that that space could have use for?
So we have not spoken to the county specifically about the skate park. I know the county and the city and other community partners, they have been trying to determine and figure out the course, or what's gonna happen with the campus and the university, things like that. But specifically for the skate park, we have not talked about the campus itself. One of the locations on our list is Ridge Run Park along University Drive. Again, as the chairman mentioned earlier, some of the locations, every location has some good aspects, some poor aspects, things like that. The one concern with us with Ridge Run along University Drive is it's not centrally located. So a lot of times in West Bend, when we start thinking about what's the center of the town, it's about Chestnut and Main. Okay, so if you kind of think about that. So when we start looking at locations, we like to have the locations close to the Riverwalk to Isabon Trail, centrally located, because the users aren't gonna all get in their cars and drive there. The users are, there's a couple of little ones right behind you there. And we're hoping that, you know, if and when and where the skate park could potentially be constructed, the kids can get themselves there. That's one of our big goals, you know. Someone's on their scooter, their bike, there's this, there's that, you know. They live north of, you know, Regner Park or wherever the location's gonna be, that they can get there. So we did not talk to the county about the university, but we did have a close comparison would have been Ridge Run.
Okay, and I absolutely appreciate that. I think just from some of the stories we've heard, people are already traveling quite a bit. And as a resident, I know I can get anywhere in the city in about 5 minutes.
Sure.
In a car, right? So I think the space that sounds like you guys really want might be provided there. So just, they are voting on that usage, and you can submit a letter of intent as well. I believe they're meeting next month, the county, on that.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank
Like-
you.
Like Mike said, I mean, we look out for the 10, 11-year-old kids that want to drive down the Riverwalk and hop on the skate park. So, I mean, it's centrally located. Does anybody else want to talk? Like I said, oh, okay. Go ahead.
I'll make it quick.
It's all right. We got all night.
Natalie Baker. I've lived in West Bend about 17 years now. I grew up in Oconomowoc, and my parents still live out there, so we go out there a lot. My son he rides mostly a scooter, does skateboarding, and he's used the skate park here in town, but we went to Oconomowoc, and I didn't know that they were building this beautiful skate park. And we got there, and it was just opening up, and seeing people my age dusting off their old skateboards and bringing their kids there on their skateboards. It was really cool. I've spent a lot of time driving my son and all of his friends to out to Milwaukee, to Four Seasons, Cream City, all these other skate parks, and I'm really excited that we're finally doing something here, because I think the kids deserve it. And my son wanted to be here, but he had to work tonight, and better concrete, please. He wants better concrete. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Kalani. When you fall, when you skateboard, you get back up. When you fall from a big high thing, from a ramp, you get back up and try again.
My name is Luke Ledger, 625 Imperial Court in West Bend here. I've been in West Bend most of my life. I was also here for the 2003 opening, and I also do aggressive inline, so sorry guys, but I'm not gonna sell you on it. It sounds like you guys are as excited as we are about the prospect of a skate park. My only question was also towards like the private location. I'm not exactly for it, but I was curious, would that be like leasing it or purchasing it theoretically?
So,
You said cost was kind of part of the issue. but-
cost is part of the issue, but they were actually considering a lease program with us.
Okay,
We didn't get real specific on the time frame or length of that lease, et cetera. We invest 800,000 or whatever it might be into an amenity like this. That lease would have to be like the Panama Canal, like several
absolutely.
hundred years or
That's what
something
I
like
was thinking. I was
that.
like,
So, yeah,
if we're gonna lease this place or
Yeah.
this location and build on it and put all of that infrastructure into it, like it just doesn't. I think that's a huge thing against that location.
Right.
That we would have to continually renew the lease and continue paying for that, whereas we have Ragnar to use.
Mhm.
You know, it might be more with the poor soil and all that also. Not that that's any better than Kester, but that's my biggest concern is we would need, like you said, a 1,000,000-year lease.
Sure.
And if we don't get that, let's say it's even 10 years or whatever, and they decide that they want to do something else with it, that's, I could see that happening.
It would have to be a long-term lease.
Yeah.
Like beyond 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. We're not going to invest any solid, funding into a temporary project.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And
And the-
just also another question about that location, because also I don't think that's a very good location for that reason, and we probably wouldn't get the whole lot correct. I mean, talk about it, whatever. So I know it's used a lot, like 4th of July parade. You get all the bunch of cars in there, and like if you want to go skating, you're not going to be able to for a bunch of different things like that. So that's just my thoughts on it. It would be, potentially more expensive, potentially not as permanent as we're looking for. And I like the Regner idea. I do. So wanted to voice that to you guys, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, we didn't talk to the people with that private land, but I think we didn't personally do it, but we wanted to buy it because, like you said, I mean, and they're not willing to sell it, so I doubt that they'd be willing to do a long-term lease also.
Hi, my name is John Notham. I was a resident of West Bend for 30 years. I was on the original committee to get the Sunrise Rotary Skate Park and worked with them in the YMCA to get it there. I built it, I moved it, tore it down, built it again, as many of these people helped out with. I'm really glad to see that this is being taken into consideration and that a more just safe environment is being built for it. Micah, if you're watching, hope you feel better. But he was there for all of it as well. This is a huge staple to the community. I think it would bring a lot of good to it. And I just wanted to come up and express the positivity that I've seen it bring to the community when it was thriving, when it first came out. I watched it literally bring a kid back from suicide at one point because he felt a sense of belonging. He felt a sense of community. He made a lot of new friends. And I just watched this kid go from just kind of curled up into a ball in the corner, afraid of things, to thriving in a new group of kids. So I think that having a much larger, safer facility, I did go out there today to glance at what has become of it. And I saw bolts from decks literally rusted out and busted through that I was afraid to stand on it. So I feel that the sooner this could happen, the better. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Anybody else want to talk? Anyone here have comments? I think, like I said earlier, that not every site is going to be perfect, but that site does check most of the boxes. It's in a park already. We own the property. There's not a lot of neighbors nearby. It's good visibility. It checks most of the boxes. You have something else to say?
Yeah, I do. So going back to the phase program, with the first phase kind of like going from there, I think that is a really good idea. And also Portage, Wisconsin, over by the Dells, they did that same exact thing pretty much, and it went very well for their community. And I think that they gave us a really, really good blueprint to like kind of move forward with that. Because they did it was all private events basically, and that's how they got all their funding from like other businesses that were in the city that wanted to contribute. And now I'm pretty sure they're on their second phase and installing lights, and it's a great park. I only visited it once, but I had a great time, and there was probably upwards of 15 people there, and it was like early in the morning on a Saturday, so it's definitely being used, and I think that they did a very, very good job with like just the strategy on how to gain the awareness and the funding. So that'd be something to look into. Grindline Skate Parks was the one that poured their entire stuff, and I know the last meeting that was Evergreen and Grindline were kind of like the two builders that we had like talked about. Micah, I know, is good friends with the people from Grindline, so that'd be something that we can kind of pull ideas from. But that's all.
Thanks. Yeah, it's it's great to see this, this level of support for the skate park. Let's just make sure it continues through the fundraising and design phase, because we're gonna need some money to do this.
Hello. Hey, I'm Derek Larson from 4783 Glenview Circle. My only question about Regner is that it looks like, I was just looking on my phone, it looks like that small triangle area between the sports courts. Was there any consideration taken into some of the other areas around there? I feel like tucking it away, I'm not saying that's tucked away, it's just kind of not in front of everything. I think you can really make a skate park be like a centerpiece. It can be something that is really cool looking in the park for the community. And it doesn't look like you know, we said 13,000 square feet, but then possibility for expansion. It doesn't really look like there's anywhere to expand from that position unless you kind of come through that little area and then go around, I think that was like tennis courts or something. So was there any consideration taken into any other areas? Like there's that large field and then there's the area kind of right outside of that triangle?
There was the soccer field was one that they talked about off Park Avenue, but there's no parking there. There's no lighting. Bathrooms are a little further down the road. There's residents across the street. So, I mean, it wasn't as nice of some people thought that it wasn't as good of a site as what this sport court would be.
So at the sport court area, the triangle that you're talking about isn't necessarily like the footprint that we would be using. The area to the east of the volleyball court that's there, that could very well be phase 1 or phase 2. Keep moving east on 33. On the corner of 33 and Silverbrook, that would be right field of a softball diamond. There's not a fence there, but there is the infield area closer to the Boys and Girls Club on Silverbrook. So that's the biggest consideration of not moving from the sport court further east out towards 33.
So moving
45.
Main Street, sorry.
I wish I had a map to point to, but moving out like from that triangle through that small space into the more of the open field, that is on the table?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Further to the east or the southeast, there's a softball diamond there, so they still use that, but there's still plenty of room behind that.
There's actually like 32,000 square feet in that area.
Okay.
East of the sport court, and then I'll say to the south of the sport court. Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've all skated enough square skate parks in our life that was kind of another cool thing, that it was kind of this weird abstract shape that went from a triangle into like an octagon. That, you know, skateboarding isn't a square. There's different lines in every skate park. So I thought that would give, you know, Grind Line or Evergreen more play into having a cool different shape, different phases. So I liked the triangle into like a big growth. I thought it would be cool and give it a better, unique layout.
Well, tonight we're going to vote on what site, and that's the recommendation of the Friends of the Skate Park and the recommendation of staff. And I want to make sure everybody can live with that site. Would that be feasible if we would put it there? Exactly. And most people say that's the best site available, and we can't get that other site, that privately owned one. I like that site. I would recommend it. It's got, like I said, it crosses out most of the boxes.
I'll move to approve that site. That's what, if we're calling for a
There's a
vote.
motion
I second.
and a second. Is there any other discussion on it?
Just real quick, just to address a concern earlier about going onto Facebook. You mentioned, sir, about reading the story about it and wondering if there'd been a lot of consideration put into it. One of the hardest things with these kind of projects is keeping the public informed about every step along the way, and having enough of these public commentary sessions. It really has been given a lot of consideration, and really just to get yourself involved a little more with the Facebook page or with the Friends of Skate Parks. I mean, you can do that yourself too. So I just want to make sure people understand we really do try to keep in communication with.
Turn your mic on.
Oh,
Is your
sorry.
mic on?
I didn't really say anything.
Thank you. Any other comments? There's a motion and a second.
Carolyn just
Brian?
wants to verify that you said the Regner Sport Court area, because there are 2 Regner locations. So
Yes,
just
the Regner
to
Sport Court.
clarify.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody. And thank you all.
Thanks for coming out and
And
supporting
like he
it.
said, stay involved with it, and if you can join the Friends of the Parks, I mean, they're going to be working on this, and they can use some more ideas.
Yeah, okay. Should charge entry fee. Yeah.
Somebody left the water. One of the kids leave that bottle down there? All right, we can move on to new business. We have a report on the urban forestry master plan by Rick.
Good evening. Urban Forestry Master Plan, I believe it's on. Get it closer. The Urban Forestry Master Plan that's in place was approved in 1995. It's 30 years old this month. And it was probably antiquated by 2008 when we first saw EAB arrive in this part of Wisconsin. So we're very much in need of a new updated urban forestry master plan. And in anticipation of commissioning a new urban forestry master plan, staff has prepared what we've titled an Urban Forestry Management Plan. The plan is included in your packet. The purpose of this management plan is to provide guidance for the city's urban forestry policy, administration, and management. It's a working document that formalizes the practices and programs currently in place that have been adopted to promote efficiency with current forestry budgets and staffing levels. As I said, this is, we feel, the initial step in pursuing an up-to-date urban forestry master plan. We anticipate applying for a DNR urban forestry grant to fund the hiring of a firm to prepare that master plan. Hopefully we can secure funds for 2026. And then that new plan, we expect to hire an experienced firm that can assess the budget, staffing, urban forestry canopy of West Bend and the management of it, provide recommendations based upon communities of comparable sizes. When done, this completed urban forestry management plan with an updated street tree inventory lays the groundwork for development of the next, the work we're doing lays the groundwork for that next urban forestry master plan. The work that we've done in the report that you have will represent a large savings to the cost of hiring that consultant because they will not have to do the work that we've already completed, including the update of the tree inventory. So the plan we've provided consists of the following components. First of all, an updated computer-based street tree inventory. Secondly, includes planting specifications and forestry standards, and includes street tree planting program that the city has in place, including the free street tree program that we find very popular with the community. It includes our initiatives for public outreach and education, an annual forestry work calendar, and goals and strategies for urban forestry management, public outreach, and maintaining our arboriculture standards. In working through the updates to the street tree inventory, we came up with some interesting statistics in the comparison between the 1995 plan and our current inventory. In 1995, there were 8,400 street trees in West Bend. In 2025, there are 10,200. As far as total available street tree planting sites, in 1995, there were 12,800 potential sites to plant street trees. Today, there are 19,570 potential sites. Of those, in 1995, 34% potential planting sites were vacant. Today, today 50% of the potential planting sites are vacant. So we see ourselves falling behind. Obviously, there are reasons for that. EAB is the biggest reason. We took down 3,600 trees over a 10-year period, to which we've replaced, I'm going to guess, 2,000 or so, maybe a little more. And another statistic here, approved street trees, street tree species in 1995 that were planted were about 43% of all street trees. And that included ash, which soon became unapproved tree species. And today, only 32% of our street trees are on our approved street tree list. So there are a number of trees for various reasons. Biggest one is that we have many Norway maples, which were a popular tree species to plant in the 70s, 80s, through the 90s. And only now are we starting to see problems with those species, and we are removing many of them every year. Anyway, that said, we tonight request Commission approval of this management plan as a working document, and if approved, we will then move ahead by applying for a 2026 urban forestry grant to fund an updated urban forestry master plan. That master plan, when complete, we anticipate would then become components adopted by an updated park and open space plan and a City of West Bend comprehensive plan, which is anticipated to be initiated in 2025.
I see that there's still 114 ash trees. Are there those eventually going to get taken out? According to the plan, there was 114.
Yeah, quit screwing around, Dan.
I saw that number, and I don't know where 114 ash trees would be, to be perfectly honest with you. I off the top of my head, I can picture 3 of them right now. That's about all that's left, so.
I also caught that, and then, of course, I was the one working on the update, and I should say it's been an ongoing process with the GIS department at the county assisting me in getting our numbers updated. And he helped me isolate some of those trees, and a number of them were located along the Eisenbahn Trail in areas that aren't actively managed. And so I probably, in one fell swoop, deleted about 40 or 50 trees. Others may be in park locations that I haven't been able to isolate yet. In truth, I'm sure it's much less than that. My intent in including that comment, though, was to indicate the reduction in the population of ash trees. It actually went up from 1995, when there was 2,000 some. It went up well over 3,000 because they continued to plant them right up until EAB arrived. So.
All right. You have a question?
Just a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
real quick. Mike, I'm just trying to get back up to speed here now. Where do we get the unapproved trees list? Is that just from experience, or is that something that's?
Mike, microphone.
Is that a standard? The unapproved trees list, sorry. Is that a standard thing like countrywide, or is that just something we've come up with through experience, or?
Both.
Okay.
In 1995, Norway maples were on the approved street tree list because they were viewed as a very tough tree that could withstand the tougher environments in the street terrace.
The City of West Bend Forestry Management approved street tree list, is that what you're saying, or is it in general?
In 1995, ash and Norway maple were both on the approved street tree list.
Okay.
Ash tree
Now
was
with
the second, number 2 favorite or whatever, popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And 30 years later, after what we've learned, they're obviously all on the unapproved.
I remember Craig Hepner saying that was one of his mistakes, was putting the whole city with ash board, Ash.
Yeah, so it's a living document, it's changing all the time.
Okay, and that's mostly on our own behalf, right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Can I just jump in also with one comment? Just because the tree's on the unapproved list doesn't mean we're gonna go out tomorrow and remove that tree. So it's unapproved planting list. So we're not gonna go ahead and plant green ash tomorrow, we're not gonna plant more Norway maples, and we're not gonna go out and cut down the Norway maples. It's just, we're not gonna plant any more of those
Gotcha,
trees.
gotcha.
So when you think about unapproved list, it's not because they're all, tomorrow they become
It's
a
not like they're
hazard.
illegal or anything,
No,
right?
just, we have more varieties available to us today than what we had in 1970 something after Dutch elm disease wiped out all of our elm trees. West Bend's no different than Whitefish Bay or any other community. They planted ash trees and Norway maples. They did it all over the Midwest. So our numbers that way are not uncommon.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make the note about the unapproved list. It's not that these trees are dangerous and they all gotta be removed or, no, that is
Okay.
not the situation. It's just, we're not planting Norway maples anymore.
Okay. And then just one more question. This study that you've done, a lot of the data that you've already compiled, I mean, what more are we gonna get from a company that we're gonna pay a bunch of money to?
What we're gonna get from a company with experience in working with many different communities is we're gonna get their insight and knowledge into the metrics we should have in place for funding, staffing, and management of the urban forest canopy for a community of this many acres with these, this kind of resource of street trees
Okay.
and urban
Okay.
forest, you know.
Gotcha, okay.
Justice also, and, I mean, Rick's done he put a tremendous amount of work into this.
It looks like it, that's what I'm saying.
And,
It's like,
and this will keep those costs down if, whatever point in time we hire a consultant, but I think just statewide comparables, Midwest comparables, that's what we need. And it's a document to lead us forward, not for a year or two, but, hopefully a 20-year document.
yeah, and I'm not as much concerned about the cost as I am. It just seems like he's already put the work in.
Right,
really,
no,
you know?
Rick's done a great job. I mean, this document is phenomenal, and if we would've hired a consultant 6 months ago, we would've had to gather this information anyways
Mhm.
to literally give to them. Well, why don't we just do that upfront legwork? We know what we have our inventories, we know what works, doesn't work. Rick and Dan spent countless hours meeting and reviewing and updating, so we really need to take our information and have someone analyze it. Tell us where our deficiencies are. I look at our urban canopy, we're at 50% vacancy. To me, that seems to be a lot. Maybe it's not, let them determine that for us.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, I guess part of my point too is, thank you guys for doing that. That's awesome.
I will mention too,
I believe that, yeah.
I will mention that this was funded in part by the previous grant, 2024 Urban Forestry Grant from the DNR that we received. They also reviewed it and approved basically the funds that they've provided for it. So.
All right.
Great.
Okay, that plan was in our packet. Hopefully, everybody had enough time to read. I entertain a motion to
A
approve.
motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Rick. Mike, you have the dog at Lawrann?
Yes, we have some customers that have the Lake Lawrann Marin Center Conservancy rented for a wedding in October, specifically October 11th. The couple is requesting to have their dog at the wedding ceremony. Our current ordinance does not allow for dogs at the Conservancy, so we are asking the commission if they would approve a temporary variance.
Have the Friends of Lac Lorraine approved it?
Friends of Lac Lorraine approved this, and it has happened that I know of once before. Almost identical to this, where their dog's important to them, they want the dog at the ceremony.
It'll be on a leash, I assume, and not running
Yep,
around.
it'd have to still be a 6-foot leash and all
And
that.
just the day of the wedding, it sounds like.
Actually, they were requesting just a ceremony.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Real quick question, how did it go last time?
I don't remember. Everything was
Important
great. Everything was wonderful.
He'd remember if it was a bad experience.
I would assume if they want their dog there with all the people, the dog minds.
Okay, there's motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Overnight camp, Mike?
Overnight camp, this is the annual request from Shorewood High School. They do a canoe trip down to Milwaukee River, Mothi Lake, down to Milwaukee, takes several days. They're looking at camping overnight at the Conservancy, June 18th this year. We've never had any issues with them in the past. I know recent years, we had some inclement weather. The police department actually moved them indoors in one of our buildings, which is great. We have the classroom in the lower level, the Marin Center. That's ideal for them. For them, it's a great location. We have restrooms available for them. And again, if there's inclement weather, we can get them undercover, so.
That's cool.
Move to approve.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. And then we have the no-fee events
All right.
that are in the packet.
The no-fee events, for each one of these events, they have to go through the city permitting process. They need to provide insurance, things like that. So all of those steps are followed for each one of these events. I'm just going to go through the list. If you have any questions, please shout out, let me know. The first event is the Baird Shred event. This is an annual event scheduled for May 15th in the Kister parking lot across the street from Regner Park. German Night. This is an event hosted by the West Bend Friends of Park and Recreation in collaboration with our department. They are requesting to host German Night in Regner Park, July 16th. Regner Fest is the same scenario. We are very fortunate West Bend Friends of Parks and Recreation would like to host an event again with us in Regner Park on July 18th and 19th. The Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids, which is sponsored or put on by our department, we're requesting approval to host that event in Regner Park, July 19th. The Nitro Softball Tournament, co-hosted with the West Bend Athletic Association for out at Quas Creek Park, July 25th through the 27th. This is considered a no-fee event because of the memorandum of understanding that the Athletic Association has with the city. We allow them to have X amount of softball tournaments out at the complex on an annual basis at no charge. And the MOU's been working out well for many years. The Geocache Bash and the Friday night concert hosted by the West Bend Chamber of Commerce. City of West Bend is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and they are requesting to hold their Cache Bash event August 8th through the 10th in the Regner Park Entertainment area. And the last one is Wisconsin Riders. This is the Fraternal Order of Police. They are looking at hosting their annual event September 6th in Regner Park. Again, looking at commission and city policy, fees would be waived for this because it's another city department.
I move to approve all events as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And one more thing, Mike, huh?
Yep, okay, so fee events, again, they have to follow city permitting, insurance, all those requirements. Some of these events, they do sell alcohol, they have to go through all that permitting process through the clerk's office. The first event that we will, and I'm just gonna go through the list again, please let me know if you have any questions or comments. The first event on the list for this evening is Steps Against Sexual Harassment. They are requesting to host a 5K run walk on Saturday, September 26th in Ridge Run Park. They would utilize the PIC Pavilion down on the south end and then the trails through the park. I met them on many emails and phone conversations. I also met them on site. I talked to them about basic event things like litter control and management, moving volunteers around, first aid, all of those things, associated with the event. I feel very confident that they will host for their first annual event. I think they're doing all the correct things, checking off the right boxes. So estimated fees are there on your on the sheet for $260 and the standard rental fees, et cetera. The next event is the Hometown Foundation Homegrown Event. This is their annual concert event in Regner Park. This year, they're looking at a 2-day event, July 12th and 13th. The Moose Lodge is looking at hosting their second annual fundraiser event in Regner Park for August 2nd. Last year was their first event. It was very successful for them, and they would like to continue with that concert, that day-long concert. The next one is the Art and Chalk Fest, hosted by the Museum of Wisconsin Art. That they are looking at doing that event again over at by the museum along the Riverwalk, August 15th through the 17th. The fees that are in the memo are estimated fees because of labor, equipment, materials. These are just estimates as the amount of time it's going to take for our staff to move equipment around for them. So, but this is a good estimate for them.
Our hourly wage is what the estimated part's
We
about?
actually use charge-out rates, so hourly rate plus the city's charge-out rate for that. So all fees are covered. I mean, anything from fringe benefits, anything and everything for those staff members.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yep.
Yeah, because there was an estimated earlier too, I was gonna ask about
Yeah.
that, okay.
So, and when we, and for the labor, for something like that, many times we have seasonal employees that keeps the cost down, but sometimes we don't, and it's a cost for the event, really, is what it comes down to. The next item is German Fest. The German Fest Committee is requesting approval to host their annual German Fest in Regner Park at the entertainment area, August 21st through the 24th. This is, again, a 4-day event, very large event for the park. It's been very successful in recent years. The next event is Steak in the Park, hosted by the Noon Kiwanis. They are looking at holding that event September 16th up in the Regner Park Entertainment area. The next item or event is sponsored by Casa Guadalupe Education Center. It's Festa Latina. This year they are looking at expanding their event to a 3-day event, Friday through Saturday. They've been very successful in the past, and they would like to expand it to 3 days, which definitely works with our calendar up there. And the last one is the Alzheimer's Association. They're looking at holding their Walk to End Alzheimer's event in Regner Park on September 27th.
Thanks, Mike. See, the Steps Against Sexual Assault, that's a first-time event.
First-time event, yes,
In
sir.
the past, we've waived those types of, the fees for those, and I think that would be applicable to be able to do that.
Yes, and if the commission waives the fees, it would be the fees that are on this memo. It would not be, the fees for the city permit and et cetera through our clerk's office would not be waived. They would still have to pay those fees. If the commission chooses to waive fees, it would be just the ones that you see.
Does anybody else have a comment about that?
No, I'll make a motion to approve with that exception.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And that is it. Now we have reports. Chairman, I'll just say it was nice to see all the public here. They're passionate about the skate park, and that's good to see. And like you said, hopefully they keep that momentum going. And we'll see everybody at Blackfest on Saturday then. You have anything, Craig?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge the great work that the Parks Recreation Forestry staff are doing when they're, they're being short-staffed and they're still keeping up with all the work that's ahead of them. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. Courtney's not here. Rick, got anything else?
Quickly, I can report that the Ridge Run Cabin, also known as the White Family Cabin Restoration Project, is well underway. Contractors making great progress, even with the cold weather we've had recently, and I think we're right on target for the May 1 opening when our rentals resume. So, and second and final item, I've been assisting the communications and development departments with some of the work for the downtown business district. design of the flower pots for this coming year, and administering the bid process for a downtown landscape maintenance services contract, which will bid next month, and that's a 3-year contract to take care of those flowers and planters for the next 3 years.
Thanks. Ryan?
Couple of quick things. The first winter session of swimming lessons ends this Saturday, so hoping the high majority of the kids pass on to the next level. And then the spring or second winter session begins the following Saturday, March 8th. With summer coming closer than it feels like it should be, I'm beginning to hire for all of my seasonal employees, so have had quite a few interviews with beach house attendants and youth sports instructors. So hoping to have all of those positions filled by March. Last Saturday, I went down to Greenfield to take the lifeguard instructor recertification that I need to take every 2 years. So that allows, excuse me, that recertification allows me to recertify our lifeguards for their standard lifeguarding certification. So that allows me to only pay $47 per recertification for a 2-year period instead of them having to find a third party, which would be, most of the time it's $200 to $250. So win-win for everybody involved. And then, yeah, Aquapark, glad to get the approval for that, and then sending out availability forms for the lifeguards and the beach house attendants. So just a lot of prep work for summer right now. Thank you.
And skating is done for the year. How was the attendance for that? A little low, huh?
The last time I summed it up, while we were staffed, it was between 600 and 700. So, I mean, I could go back and watch all the camera footage and try and get a rough count, but while we were staffed, it was about 700 people.
Okay, well, good.
It's better than last year.
Yeah, and the year before. What do you have for us, Dan?
Staff is continuing to street tree prune. We're gonna probably start wrapping that up, and with hopefully the warmer weather coming, get out to the nature playground again. Do whatever we can. We have engineering removals coming up that we'll be assisting with. So we've been building more features for nature playground. We have a couple new things. I'm not gonna divulge all of our information, so it's a little bit of a surprise. Some cool ideas that staff came up with, and things that are a little bit outside of the box. Second interview we have set up with a gentleman for next week Thursday for the arborist work job. So hopefully that goes well. We've been getting some applicants here and there. I did reach out and contacted a guy about a Zoom interview for our arborist position as well today. So just waiting to hear back from him. Staff attended a couple conferences this last month to help continue with our credentials. WAA conference and a WPRA conference, some of us attended. We did do the ice rink, and we did do cross-country skiing. It didn't last as long as we might wanted it to, but we were out there and we got it out there for people to use, so that was a positive. To me, I think since I've been here, I think this has got to be one of the longest seasons for the ice rink. It seems like it's been open forever this winter, so I think it's 700, 600, that seems pretty good to me. I don't know what the norm is, but.
It got cold early, it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then we were able to flood it numerous times, so we were able to give them a good surface, and then we didn't have that where it went up and down, we didn't get a lot of snow, so we were able to stay on top of it pretty well. So, the last thing, probably the biggest thing, is we've been setting up for Bachfest, getting that ready, so.
I see you have the anchors down there for the aqua.
Yeah, we picked
Aquapark.
up, we have all the anchors ready for the.
Huge.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Do we have additional liability for those staff-built features for the nature playground, or?
I'm sorry, for the what?
Any additional liability because we're building the features for the nature playground?
Everything that we are doing has been reviewed by the city attorney. We talked to him about what we were doing. We are using playground standards where applicable, such as we used one slide coming off the deck, and we used all the parameters that we normally would for that. Down around that and the agility area, the agility area, we're going to be utilizing certified wood chips and all that stuff also. So, yeah.
Great.
That's all I
Is that it? Mike, you have anything?
Two quick items. Rick had mentioned a maintenance contract that he's working on and putting together. I just wanted to add to that, this is not a Park Rec Forestry contract at all. This is basically a contract for our bid district and city administration that Rick is putting together. We have some staffing changes upstairs, things like that. So I'll say volunteered to, take it on. And we want to make sure it gets administered properly. And I'll just say it like this, I'll be blunt, Rick has the expertise for it. So Rick put that package together, it's out for bid, but I just wanted to make sure it was clear that officially it's not our funding. It's basically for administrative funding and bid funding for downtown.
And normally not our purview either, huh?
Normally not what?
We're normally not responsible for that.
No, and
Yeah, okay.
and this contract and the maintenance that we're talking about is all part of the memorandum of understanding with the city and the citizen group that helped donate and,
Yeah, I remember
and
that,
establish, those pots and things like that downtown. And one more item with the Aquapark, the contractor's looking at starting in about 2 weeks. So that's why Dan and the guys have everything kind of staged down there. The ice on the pond is good, because it's gonna help not have as much frost in there, but as soon as we pull the plug, they're gonna have to contend with that ice, so, it's February, March, it'll be a good job site for them.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anything else by anybody for good of the order? If not, thanks for staying late. It was good discussion, and I will adjourn.